Cookies. I'm your host, Lauriston Lee Crockett IV. Today I am honored to have Mr. Guy Mezger, UFC, pancreas, and kickboxing champion with me today. May I call you Mr. Guy?
Yeah, you can call me Guy if that makes it easier for you. You don't have to put the Mr. in front of it. It just kind of makes you feel old anyways.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming to have milk and cookies with me today.
I appreciate it. Actually, it's the only first interview I've ever done. I've done thousands of them, but the first one that actually had milk and cookies. So we have a first time. I'm sorry?
Was it a 7-year-old?
And the first one I've ever had with the 7-year-old. So we're breaking new ground here.
Yeah. How old were you when you started martial arts?
Well, okay, so really have a good idea. You have to really kind of define what martial arts is. Okay, martial arts is the study. Martial means war, and so it's the art of war. So there's a lot of activities that are martial arts that aren't considered martial. Most people think of martial arts, they think kind of the Oriental martial arts, like karate, kung fu, things like that. Yeah. But really, the greatest martial art is wrestling, okay? Yeah. And you don't actually have to leave the country. The best wrestlers in the world actually come from America, and I started wrestling when I was 8 years old. But I started also at age 14, I also started doing a form of karate called Chung Do Kwan, which is a Korean form of karate, a lot like Taekwondo.
When did you turn to pro?
I turned pro at the age 20.
Yeah, I think so. When was your first fight?
You talking about my first competition fight, or
like first?
Like first fight. Pro. Actually, my first fight I had, I was 4 years old. You see, I started kindergarten early, and it was back in the early '70s, and there was a thing called force busing. Great idea, just didn't really work out real well. And I had this 6-year-old who wanted to beat me up.
Yeah.
And that was my first one.
Yeah.
Didn't go so well for me. So after that, it had such a profound effect. I said, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen again. So I quickly started studying martial arts after that.
Yeah, I think my audience knows your facts. So you have fought in, let's see, preposition, combat, sports, including all contact karate, kickboxing, and boxing. And you hold the belt of 6th Dan black belt, right?
Actually, I'm a 7th degree now.
Oh, 7th?
Yeah, I have a 7th degree black belt. This is my highest ranking in the Chung Do Kwan system, yes.
I've never known that.
Well, to be honest, the degrees really don't mean anything. I mean, I know a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on it. They're generally the people who don't actually go compete or fight. I always looked at it, there's two kinds of black belts. There's good ones and bad ones. You just be a good one.
Mm-hmm. So, in MMA, is that how you, say it? Is that how?
Yeah, MMA shorts for is an abbreviation for the term mixed martial arts, which was a term. Okay, so when the UFC first came about, they didn't have a name for it. There wasn't a name. It wasn't really a sport. There were no rules. Mm-hmm. There were no weight classes, and there were no time limits. So I mean, literally, I could bite your face off, and you couldn't be disqualified. All right, I could fight a guy like my first opponent in the UFC outweighed me by 20 pounds, and there were no time limits. So the fight could go for hours if that's what it took.
Yeah.
And so there really wasn't a name for it. And then so when they started adding rules and turned into a sport, they coined the name mixed martial arts. And so it's abbreviated by, everyone knows it as MMA.
Mm-hmm. So in full contact karate, you have 43 fights with 42 wins and 40 by knockout. Right?
Yep, I only lost one time in full contact karate. Yeah, I had I knocked out just about everybody, and in my day it was it was old school bare knuckle full contact karate like you would see in Japanese style karate, and so there was to be honest, I was kind of a unique guy in it because I grew up as an American style fighter, and I don't think they were used to the angles in which I fought at, and that's probably why I was so successful with it.
I think your family was proud of you, right?
Well, I hope so. I mean, it's interesting because I all my family, my brothers and my mom, they all have extremely high IQs. They're in a group called Mensa, which is a fraternity sorority that has people with very high IQs. And so my brothers were all very national honor roll. Like my mom used to introduce, this is John and Kenny. They're my brothers, and Marshall. They're all part of the National Honor Roll Society and this. And my mom would look at me and she'd go, and the guy, he's athletic. So I excelled in athletics. I like to think that my family's proud of me as an athlete, yes.
Okay, so now we're moving on to my favorite, my excitingest thing that we do in the show.
Yes.
So it's called the cookie bump.
Okay, cookie bump.
Yeah,
I just let you know, I didn't. It sounds dangerous, and I didn't sign a waiver before I got on here, so
it's not dangerous.
All right.
Yeah. So you get a cookie. It's kind of like
I got a cookie.
a fist bump.
Okay. Boom. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's try it again. I gotta try this again to make sure I got it right. Ready? Let's try it. What is it? You go like what? Boom, boom. All right. I think I got it down now.
There's a thing called this mic crunch.
So I'll tell you something. I thought we got to work on getting it in the mouth. Here we go, trick like that. Throw it in the mouth. Actually, you know what? I broke the cardinal sin. I should have chewed with my mouth open. It would have made better. But then if my mom saw the show, she'd call me up immediately and start lecturing me about chewing with my mouth open. So I didn't get quite a good crunch on it.
But we're boys.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually the best excuse you can come up with.
Yeah. My daddy taught me that one.
Yeah. Hey, don't go to the well with that one too much, just so you know. It's only going to work for a limited amount of time.
My dad says you're a living Spartan.
I'm what? A living Spartan? To be honest, I know he means that as a compliment, but I'll be honest, the Spartans weren't good human beings. They were very, very tough guys. What I'd rather be considered is the Athenians, because the Athenians were great warriors too, but the Athenians were philosophers and scientists and stuff like that. In fact, we owe our form of government to the Athenians. We owe what's considered Western philosophy to the Athenians. So I like to think of myself as something a little bit besides just the warrior. I spent most of my life doing this, from contracting to fighting professionally, but I like to consider myself a little bit more well-rounded in the fact that I'm somewhat of a intellectual at some point or another.
Isn't it true that you're a doctor too?
Actually, I am. I have the unique, pleasure to be the only world champion full contact fighter that's also a doctor and PhD.
Doctors sound a little bit boring. It sounds. I don't really like doctors, but I like one. What kind of doctor are you?
Well, I don't do very much clinician work, which is like the doctors you say. What I mainly do is I do science work.
I like that kind of doctor.
Yeah, I do too, because what I like to do is I like to help people. I have been very blessed in the fact that I didn't have a lot of things going up, and I had people, mostly men, that looked after, just saw some worth in me that I didn't see in myself. And so, I figure, that what I am good at, I am really good at being a scientist.
Yeah.
So I think, I work on projects that are going to help people in the future with their health. And that's exciting for me.
Yeah. I also my favorite subject is science also.
Science?
I love science.
What kind of science do you like?
Is there any normal kind?
Well, there's all kinds of stuff. Like me, I'm a health scientist, right?
Yeah.
And then there might be a guy who's a material scientist, and a material scientist is somebody who works with,
that kind.
You like that kind?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
My godson is an amazing material scientist, and he's a very, very smart guy. On top of being he's actually a modern day warrior. He's a Navy SEAL, so it's crazy.
Yeah. So you now work in Dallas, Texas, try to teach people to do martial arts, right?
Yeah, I've actually been a professional martial arts instructor for 31 years. So I've been doing, and I live most of my life here in Dallas, and I Yeah, I've been teaching for 31 years.
We actually me and my dad live in Plano, Texas, so it's like 15 minutes away from
Yes.
your place.
Yeah, so no excuse for you not to come down and train. I understand you're a hockey player. You stay with hockey, you better learn how to fight, because it gets up to the level, you go to a fight and maybe a hockey game breaks out. So you want to make sure you can handle yourself.
Yeah, I do.
All right.
What was your most exciting fight?
My most exciting fight? Man, I've had a lot. So, I think probably one of the best fights when I beat Tito Ortiz, just because in the old school UFC, you fought in tournaments, and in the fight before I fought Tito, I broke my hand, and my hand was broken so bad that we had to cut the glove off my hand, and originally I wasn't going to fight, but to be honest, I knew that it was a time when all my training partners came together. We came together in California, and they put so much effort out for me that I felt like I was going to let them down. And I was like, heck, I can fight with a broken hand. Mm-hmm. So I got a pretty bad cut in the fight. They stopped the fight. They thought, oh my gosh, they're going to have to stop because of the cut. And then he came at me and shot in, and I grabbed him, I choked him out, and I won the fight. I won the championship.
So who hit the hardest?
A guy named Chuck Liddell, by far, hit me the hardest I've ever been hit my entire life. I'm sure he hit me so hard that my mom felt it all the way back in America.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
That sounds very painful.
Yeah, it doesn't do your brain a lot of good, that's for sure.
How does it feel to be a famous fighter?
That's interesting. That's an interesting thing, because there was a time when that was extremely important to me. And I think I grew up with some self-esteem issues and stuff. So really, a lot of my self-esteem was built in being the champ, because I was a good athlete.
Yeah.
And it was like winning championships and winning titles and things like that meant a lot to me. And to be honest, my life's a lot slower, a lot different now in retirement. And I look at the fact that my accomplishments, and I'm very proud of my accomplishments, but to be honest, man, I enjoy helping people better now. I enjoy the fact that I'm a father, and that I have an amazing wife, and that I, like I said, I work on medical things that help people and that save lives.
So, do you have a son and a daughter?
I have 2 sons and a daughter.
Oh. I've seen pictures of your family. They're very nice. They look very nice.
I'm fortunate. I tell everybody that I waited so long to have kids because I wanted to have the most perfect woman to marry them, and to have the most beautiful children, and I did it. The sad part is I'm going to have to admit one day that I brought down the gene pool, because my wife's pretty freaking amazing, and my kids are pretty amazing.
Yeah, what church do you go to? I go to Watermark.
You go to Watermark?
Yeah.
I go to Renaissance Church.
Yeah. It's it's a good church. It's a good church.
You like it?
Yeah.
What do you like about it?
It just looks like, I've never been there, but I've seen the school. Do they have the school?
No. This is actually a very small community church, and they don't have a school attached with it. No.
Oh. Like a Sunday school?
Yeah, they have Sunday school. They have a Sunday school program.
That's what I meant.
Oh, that's what you meant. Okay, yeah. So you've been to Sunday school church? You enjoy the Sunday school? Mm-hmm. All right, that's awesome.
So I'm getting baptized in April. Would you like to bring your family and come to mine?
Yeah, sure. If you invite me, we'll come. That would be awesome. That would be really good.
Can I ask you a question about Mr. Chuck Norris?
Sure. I don't know if I can answer it, but okay.
You went on his TV show, right?
Yeah, I actually work. He had a fight promotion called World Combat League, and I actually was I was the one who ran it for him. So, but yeah, I was on his TV show a couple times. I was a bad guy. He beat up a few times.
Oh yeah. I've seen a part of that movie. I think.
Oh, that Walker Texas Ranger show I was on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So Mr. Chuck Norris was a champion boxer too, am I right?
Yeah, he was
a kickboxer?
No, he was a karate fighter.
Oh.
Yeah, he was a little bit different. He didn't do kickboxing or boxing. He was a karate fighter. And he won 6 world championships.
Do you think Chuck Norris is better or Bruce Lee?
That's a good question.
I don't really know that answer.
You know, we would never really know that answer either because, to be honest, I mean, Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee didn't really do a lot of competition. In fact, he did very little. The only competition we know that he did is he used to box. He was a boxing champion in Hong Kong when he was a kid in high school. But he didn't really compete in karate tournaments versus Chuck Norris did, and he obviously won 6 world championships. So it's kind of hard to say which one's better because they don't have a medium in which we can compare them at. You know what I mean? It'd be like if you took a boxer, let's say you said Muhammad Ali versus Mike Tyson. Well, they both were in the same sport and did the same stuff, and we can look at them and go, hey, which one do you think is better? But it's kind of hard to say that. But both of them were very very good at what they did. In fact, they were very revolutionary in the style of training and fighting, and changed the way we really looked at martial arts in America.
Yeah. They're both amazing.
Yes, they are.
Don't you agree?
I agree.
Yeah. So, like, some people say this guy, some people say this guy is just kind of, like, in the middle. It's not like this, it's not like that. It's just in the middle.
Yeah, I think so too. Like I said, I think what they brought was they brought 2 different things. Like, Chuck Norris was a guy who brought, the sporting aspect of karate out there like this. And Bruce Lee really brought more of the philosophy of martial arts out,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm so sorry, but we are out of time. But thank you for coming on my show.
So I only get 1 cookie? Don't we get like another cookie before I leave or something?
Yeah.
We do a little cookie bump there before we leave?
Yeah.
Booyah!
I don't know why, but these cookies are so good.
I'll be honest with you. It has probably been 20 years since I had an Oreo cookie that was not in my ice cream. Now, I eat cookies and cream ice cream like crazy.
Yeah.
In fact, I have to keep it out of the house or I won't do it. But I can seriously not, let's put it this way. When they told me what kind of Oreo cookies I like, I didn't realize that there were any other kind besides this. And I'm looking over here saying, oh my gosh, they have 4 different, actually 5, I guess, different kinds of Oreo cookies.
I think there's more kinds.
Are there?
Yeah.
Are you becoming somewhat of an Oreo aficionado, which is a fancy term for expert? Maybe?
Maybe.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for having me on the show. I really enjoyed my time here with you, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. God loves you, and so do I. We'll see you next time on Celebrity Interviews. Goodbye. Okay. My ears hurt so much.